do anything to Trump
Right.
anyway. And so what's really important is whether the information gets out. And now that the Democrats have controlled the House, I've read, they will allow Mueller, they will call him in to testify in televised hearings if he's fired. So the information is going to get out.
Yeah.
Remember? You get 1,000
probably,
emails.
Yeah, I get 1,000.
Okay.
It was on a news site. It was on a news site.
Will the, I mean, it's a question for you, Kina, will the American people care? I mean, was this an issue in the campaign? And as the Mueller investigation, what might happen to Trump?
Absolutely not. This is something that's purely going to be perceived through partisan lenses. So, I don't know. Maybe it will accelerate some independents, moderate Republicans, but I just don't see much happening.
Any other questions? One last question. No? Nils, we have more questions. Yes.
Hi. I just want to follow up on an earlier question about the 2020 election. I was reading that. I was reading that apparently Russian hackers affected this election as well as the 2016 election. I was just wondering could that possibly affect the 2020 election, and how much, or what degree?
What happened in 2016 is hackers got into voter registration databases. There was no actual hacking of machines. And so there was money that was put out there for all of the states to basically try to improve election security. Probably not very surprisingly, Kemp didn't even, you had to request the money. The money was just sitting there, and Kemp and Georgia did not even request the money. But they were grossly underfunded to do the kinds of things that they need to do. And the problem is that we have all these voting machines that were purchased right after Hava 2002. So they're aging. They're at the end of their lifespan. So you need lots and lots of money to basically replace voting machines and to improve election security. So that is something that we'll probably see the Democrats offer. But I don't know that it will go anywhere. So it will, if it doesn't, then that means it's still going to be an issue in 2020.
Okay, thank you.
Is it foreign policy? Question issue? No, I don't know.
Well, we don't, any of us know.
So gearing into 2020, considering, what has happened and considering that clearly anything can happen, seeing that Trump is president, do you think Democrats have or could have the ability to turn, have that Democratic presidential candidate go into the White House in 2020, which would actually, be totally, would change the way things have been going.
So will a Democrat, could a Democrat
Democrat
win?
Could a Democrat win? Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
but we have no idea what's going to happen between now and then. It's
If there's an election.
maybe we should end on that.
But it's going to be harder than you think. I mean, the one, not to go back to the bar, but the one thing I took from that conversation is that, a lot of these issues, or the difficulty in speaking across the aisle, partisanship, as it sort of mixes with race, is so embedded in our sort of culture and our society that I think we can, for those of us who live in New York and operate on, the East Coast, just sort of assume that Mueller is going to change minds, or that people, despise Trump. I mean, in a lot of states, he was over 50% in approval. Despite how vile, we might think he is. So I think it's possible, but it's going to be much harder than I think people on the left realize.
Of course, Nixon was popular too.
I have a comment that I was going to obnoxiously turn into a question directed at the panel, but it actually speaks really nicely to what you were saying. What was on my mind was actually, my boss up there, David Jones, actually made me a lot more optimistic about the midterm results than I had felt at midnight last night. where I was expecting a much greater tidal wave of backlash against Trump than I actually saw. And part of what I was thinking about this is like, yes, racism played a role, so thank you so much for like putting that analysis in there. Yes, voter suppression played a role, but also this question of, is the Democratic Party actually an effective opposition to Trump? And what I think that what has been happening is that we've been trying to meet this like neo-fascist alt-right insurgency with something that's not equally forceful. We're trying to meet it with moderate Democrats, right? When indeed, it's actually like the most unlikely candidates that won were the ones that had this more like progressive or radical vision. I think that the greatest victory that came out of last night was actually the two Muslim candidates, right? That the two Muslim congresswomen. And not only were they Muslim congresswomen, but one, right, was a Somali refugee who was rocking a hijab, right? And then we have a Palestinian American running on intersectional issues. Neither were supported by the Democratic Party. Clearly, they didn't need the Democratic Party to organize and to win. My question then, to come out of that comment is, am I wrong?
I mean, I think, I would say everything you said is true, but it's also true that candidates like Connor Lamb were winning districts that Democrats didn't think they were going to win, that Roy Moore was defeated by a fairly moderate Democrat earlier in the special election in Alabama, and so forth. You know, you have, so I think what the lesson is a party that allows its candidates the freedom to tailor their message or allow anyone to enter the race and see what the district wants in the primary and not dictate who the candidate should be. If really in a free market, electoral market, the district, you know, may end up being able to pick a candidate who's appropriate for that district. And so not to hope for, okay, this candidate did well here, so let's replicate this all around the country. Every district has its own unique qualities in terms of you know, support for Trump, as Michael noted. You know, some states he's above water, other states below, and so that has to be taken into account in how the candidates are pitched to the district.
I'll just comment on that, and that, you know, what we're describing kind of as a world of weak parties where, right, the parties don't decide who the candidates will be, and in a situation like that, that's where you get somebody like Donald Trump, because the Republican establishment tried to prevent him from winning, but could not. And so weak parties and a polarized electorate is when you see somebody like Donald Trump winning.
But the Republican establishment changed its mind pretty fast.
Indeed.
Now look at Mitch McConnell, Paul Ryan,
Lindsey Graham.
and look at the big interest groups, the Koch brothers, for example. They all lined up behind them.
But it's still worth mentioning, the corporate money was not behind Trump, and he managed to defeat that. So so the candidate with the most money and establishment support is not guaranteed to win.
So a 2020 question that draws on a kind of geeky issue. The Senate Republicans gain seats, the House, the Democrats gain seats. What does that mean for the Electoral College? And I think I would propose a hypothesis the Electoral College is more like the Senate because of the overrepresentation of the states via the two-senator rule.
Except
that's the question. Is there some cause for concern? Because the popular vote is not really the deciding factor for presidential elections at this moment in history.
Yeah, I mean, you have to take into account this winner-take-all aspect, but as many people in the room know, the particular seats that swung and helped Republicans this year were not a representative sample of all the states. And then also you have to think about what year each of the third of the Senate is coming up. So in 2020, it will be people who got elected in 2014, which was a very good Republican year, so the situation's
Yeah,
gonna be
yeah.
reversed.
So your thought is the Senate result this year is just idiosyncratic based on the waves over
I
the
don't wanna
last.
brush it away and
Yeah, yeah,
say,
yeah.
don't worry about it,
Yeah.
but there are some idiosyncratic factors
Yeah, yeah.
that need to be taken into context.
Thank you, everybody, for coming, and thank you.